Marcy.
Hi. Hi, Savina.
You're a little nervous.
I've never been so nervous to talk to you in my life.
Really? Don't be nervous. Come
I'm
in.
fine.
Okay,
I just
you're
pretend
good?
we're,
Okay. All right. For everybody that's at home listening or watching, we have
Yeah.
Marcy Demelo with us. I hesitate to say the last name because I was like, do you still have that last name?
I do.
Okay.
I've had a number, so.
You've
You know what you say? It's like, just make it Cher, Madonna, Marcy.
Okay.
Just,
We got Marcy.
that'll be easier.
Okay. So Marcy and I met. Well, you knew me before I knew you because you walked up to me at church.
Right.
But
Well, that's because,
we had some mutual friends.
yes, who had mentioned your name. Or I
Right.
think we were introduced, yes.
Through
That's
me?
right. Yeah, through
Okay.
the church. Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
anyways, we connected right away and
did.
then we met for coffee
Mm-hmm.
at Timmy's, and you had said you used to be married to this really good looking
Oh,
Portuguese guy, and I just blurted out who it was. Out of every single person out there, what are the
Let's
chances?
get the context of why I said that.
Yeah.
Just depending on
Yeah.
that was because we were talking about, I think, weren't we talking about people who are attracted to us or coming? I can't remember, but I remember saying when I was married to that particular man, yes, everyone would always come up to him
Oh, that's
fall
how.
at his feet, and that can be a curse and a blessing
Yes.
because looks come and go.
They do come and go. And that's the important thing. I try to say that to a lot of people now. And an older gentleman in my life from the past used to say to me, he was married to this beautiful woman, and he said to her, he goes, your tits are going to sag one day. Like everything's going to drop. So
It
if
does.
you're counting everything in your life amongst your beauty, like on your beauty,
Right.
that's going to fade. So make what's
Right.
in here, and for the people that aren't watching, in your heart, count more than the outer shell.
Okay, but
So,
since we're being real and
yes,
raw,
we are being real and raw.
but every day as a woman and as women, do you not find that hard?
You know what?
To do that?
No, I've
No?
surrendered. I honestly, when you start to love yourself and you don't pay as much attention on what you look like, yeah, like I'll pass by the mirror and I'll tell myself I love myself now. Like I've got flaws like all of us,
Yeah.
but how much time are you going to spend on those flaws?
No,
Right?
and, yeah, not the flaws, but I just find, I don't know. Like even today, well, I'm going to put makeup on. I put more makeup on today than I normally would because I'm on TV or I'm
Right.
on a podcast or whatever.
Right.
So why don't I just show up regular?
You would have been embraced the same way whether you showed up off the streets, not showered, or
No,
But no,
you
I
would.
understand.
I mean, I guess
Yes.
there's a time and place for us also because you like to feel good when you're doing something special. So
I agree. You know what? I actually agree with that
You know-
because why do I have all this makeup on, right? That's not the way
That's
you
nice.
see me every day, but it's for the show, right?
Yeah, it's
so
nice.
you want to present your best. So,
right.
anyways. Okay, I'm going to ask you what I ask everyone.
Oh gosh. Okay.
What does authenticity mean to you?
Authenticity. Well, you kind of already summed it up in your raw. Like if someone had asked me, what does that mean? And that is something that's very important to me. I think it is being, it's literally, it's being raw. It's being real, raw. It's letting down your guard. Maybe it's also being true to who you feel and want yourself to be, and not allowing sort of those other thoughts in your head to be like, yeah, but you should, could, would, whatever. And you're like, no, you know, I think it's about being raw, truthfully and real.
Awesome.
Yeah. And letting down your guard.
Love it. So, Marcy, I know that you are on quite a spiritual, religious, I don't know what the proper word is to use. You're on a journey and you have been for a while, but can you tell me a bit about that? Like how you got to this point?
Well, I think the point you're talking about is sort of what you said when I came in here. You know, this lady, she's always praying about everything. That's my journey. My nature, my instinct is I'm sort of constantly in prayer. And that's because I have come to see the power of prayer in my life, my children's lives, people around me, through my work. Like there's nothing I don't do. Like before I came in here, I'm like, oh God, please give me the right words.
Right.
It's just a constant sort of, can you help direct and guide me journey? Because I kind of gave up on the, oh, I got this. I know how to do this.
Right.
I got the answers. I'll tell you what to do, you know,
Right. So have you always been like
that.
this? Like, have you always had God in your life? Like,
Well, I did grow up, like as a child, I did grow up in the church, a Lutheran church.
okay.
And so I suppose, like, it wasn't like my parents don't talk about God and faith like I would talk to my children or to my friends.
Right.
And again, like, to be completely raw, it's very personal to me, very important to me. But if you weren't asking me, I'm not going to be the girl on the street going, I love me, my Jesus. I just love him. I would not be doing that.
Right.
I would be more, if we were talking. Well,
Praise the Lord.
yeah, because you know what? And this is going to sound funny too, but I don't want people to think like I'm crazy or I'm going to push something on you. I would,
That's sad though that we have to think that way. So yeah, I struggle with that because I'm like, why does it go automatically to because you do prayer or you
Right.
speak of Jesus or whatever it
right,
is that you
right,
speak of, that automatically you're considered crazy and you're going to push your beliefs on someone else.
right. And I guess I've been thinking about that since I knew I was going to come talk to you and you were going to bring that up. I was like, well, what is it then? Like, what? But I guess it's just, I guess this is what I think. So now that prayer is important to me, and I really believe, we can all hear, we all have an option to have direction and guidance, and amazing things have happened to me, like miracles and things I've learned and things I'll say to people just because I've been led to do it.
Right.
I just think everybody has that. So when I'm prompted, I'll do it. If I'm not, I won't. If you see something in me, you say, I always thought there was something a little different about it. Is that what it is? I'm happy to share it.
Right.
So that's kind of how I feel. So if you want to know, I'm more than happy to talk to you about it all day long. But I also do think because the Holy Spirit speaks to us, there are times like in airports. I was thinking one day I was in the Detroit airport and I walked by someone and like I felt like the Lord said to me, he's got a praying mama. And like and that's kind of my prompt. And I'm like looking at the security guard and I'm like, hey, you got a praying mama. And he goes, yes, ma'am. And then later on, I came around and there he was again. And he said, why did you say that to me? And I said, I just really felt to say that to you. And then it came what I was to tell him. And it's like, I know you want to be in the police, right? You want to be in this, you want to do this. I want to encourage you to keep going. And your mom is praying for you and you're going to do what you want to do and you're going to be what you want to be. And I don't even know what I say half the time. And then I'm gone. And he's like, oh, thank you, ma'am. And I'm like, oh, sure.
That's fascinating to me. And I do believe that we all have that innately in us. It's honing in on it.
Yeah.
And some people are a little bit more gifted than others, right?
Well, and that's the truth. Aren't we all gifted in all different things? Like the way I see and do things and how I feel God uses me, I see strange, like sometimes I'm like, okay, this is an example where it's like, oh gosh, why did I do this? But I was at church one day, I'm standing behind a guy. We're both in a line to go for prayer.
Right.
Because if you want some prayer, having issues, or you want something good or some direction. And I see a pickaxe going into, this is a picture in my head, and going into the back of him.
Oh.
Yeah. And I'm kind of like, whoa, that can't be you. Like, what are these thoughts I'm getting? But I know now when I'm being spoken to.
Right.
And so I was like, oh, what do you want me to do with that? Like, I don't know. And then I'm like, oh, okay. And he's a young guy in this
Right.
leather jacket, and he turns around and he says, yes. And I go, hey, do you ever feel like people are like talking behind your back, or like what's that word that you use? What's that expression? Like, I don't know. It was something about your back, or you have a pain in your back or something like that. And he goes, why would you say that to me? And I'm like, I just felt to say that to you. And he goes, I'm in the lineup because I have the biggest pain right here where you touched me. And I'm in so much pain. And then again, like, it sounds so bold when I'm sitting here. Like, I'm just like, can I pray for you? And he goes, yeah. So I'm like, okay. So I'm like, okay, blah, 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 pray, pray, pray. And he goes, oh, oh my gosh, it's good. I'm good. And then he leaves the lineup. He goes,
Wow.
I don't have to go up.
It's amazing. Do you see Jason Momoa walking in to come like make out with me?
No.
Like, can you
No,
feel that
I
right
cannot
now?
feel that, and I
No,
don't
do you
want
feel
to.
something? No.
No. So things like that happen to me all the time, which
Wow.
again, I'm sharing all of this with you. Some people go, I think maybe she's a little bit batty and she thinks that's true, but
No,
it's
I
really
don't
not.
think so.
But too many things have happened
To make
me
you believe all
that
this.
I know
Right.
that it's like, okay.
Wow.
So I guess that's why I believe, that's how I believe. I like, you wouldn't be doing this if this wasn't your gifting, you know?
Right.
We all have different things to offer and do. It's just can we walk in them? Are we walking in them?
And it's listening to it, right? Like really listening to what we're being called to do.
Yeah. And
Right,
sometimes I
'cause-
get off track.
I think we all do, right? So, okay, I'm going to ask you a little bit more deeper of a question. I know that there's many moments in your life that have shaped you to become who you are today, but is there one raw moment that you could share that was kind of impacted you?
I can't truthfully, and this isn't answering that question directly, but more recently and over time, I think what impacts me is the pain.
The pain.
Oh, the pain. And I've been in a bit of a season of pain for a few years. When I think about it, a lot has come my way, a lot has happened, a lot of pain has happened, a lot of pain is still in my life currently. And it's through those painful moments. I've like been pregnant and alone. I've been, left when I was pregnant. I've been a single mom for many years. My mom recently died. My partner and I broke up. My children have, my one, she's in the military. She's been through hell and back. My son has had his own struggles. He's far, far away. I have friends who have lost children and financial problems. And you know what I mean?
It's heavy.
It is heavy. And I think, it's these moments as I'm literally traversing through them that shape me when I'm like, girl, do you have faith? Do you believe? And how are you going to walk through this? And then how are you going to help others walk through it? Which I know you know. When you walk through things that are hard, then ultimately it's like, oh, I want to help somebody else now. I have something to share.
So are you at that point right now where you feel like you can help others when you're there's a lot going on, like there's a lot to unpack, right? Like, so how do you keep your cup full to be able to give to someone else?
Isn't that what kind of fills our cup? There's one thing I know.
Yes. For me, it is.
That when we give,
yeah,
especially under circumstances and when we find gratitude, my son said something to me not too long ago, and I was like, oh, it's like, he says the nicest things. He's my encourager. And, he's like, Mom, I'm so thankful that you taught us how to be grateful. And he's like 31. And he's like, Mom, I'm sitting with the guys. And one day, like, they're all lamenting about this and that. And he's like, yeah, well, at least our eyes work. And they go, dude. Right? But he goes, Mom, I can find gratitude when I step outside and look at the sun. I can find gratitude that I have a good meal. So
that's what it comes down to, right? Because we can all get so down, and I wish I had this, or I wish that like my life was this, or I wish I had like a perfect marriage or partner or whatever it is that people are wishing for, but we don't actually look at what's right in front of us and actually appreciate the things that we have
right now.
The contentment. There's no contentment. And once you buy that car, and then you want the next kind of car. You want like something bigger and better. And it's just like, when will you just kind of be? And that was what the church service was all about on Sunday.
Oh, was
the
it?
Contentment.
Oh.
Yeah, like being okay with what's in front of you. And it's human nature for us all to want more.
Yeah.
But and I'm going to butcher this, but there was a poem that the pastor had talked about, and it was like, when I have this, I'm going to do this. And when I have this, I'm so busy wishing for what was. And then he came to the end of his life and he said, oh, I wish that I would have had more time.
Right.
To do
And
all
that we
those
don't
things.
have.
No, we don't.
So I guess to answer your question again, I'm just kind of like, I'm actually in a place where I have no idea what I'm doing, where I'm going, kind of who I am. I thought I was a certain person to a certain person. I thought my life was going this way. You know, I thought my work was going a certain way. I'm all over the place. And so I'm just like, well, I'm just going to sit in that.
Does that
And
scare you? Not knowing what you're.
well, you know, if you asked me a few weeks ago, and in certain points when I've been really like, oh, I'm in so much like pain, like I don't like this feeling, I'm so uncomfortable. In those moments, I would probably have a different answer. As I sort of my healing is coming, I find it kind of exciting because that's my nature too.
Right.
The unknown and spontaneity and adventure. And I'm like, ooh, I'm going to go do something. Well, what is it?
Right.
So I have to be careful because certain days if I think too much and I'm like, girl, like your kids are gone. Like you're kind of alone now. Like in your work, you're not even sure what you're doing anymore. Like I've got my hands in so many things. I have to be careful what I think about to stay calm. But I know that purpose comes from pain, and I know that there are many good things despite the bad. So I'm going to choose to focus on those and see what unfolds.
Do you have 3 children?
I have 2.
2. I've met your daughter.
Yeah,
Yeah, she's lovely. She's
she
lovely.
is. Oh,
So,
my girl, she's, yeah, she
she's
is.
pretty sweet.
And then my
She's-
son, yeah.
so, what has been the most painful in your life that you are still struggling maybe to get over, or
Right now,
just in,
it's always around relationships. You know, I've had a few, and I had another, and we planned for our future. Oh, don't make me cry.
That's okay.
Oh, it's
I got
perfect.
you. I got
It's
you.
perfect. Yeah, that's the hardest. Yeah,
Sorry.
it's okay.
And as we've talked about, we both struggle with relationships. And
Yes.
if we unpack that, do you know what the lessons are? Like, do you feel that you know? Because I know. I'm a
you?
fixer. I'm a fixer,
Oh.
and I want to fix, and I go for the underdog, right?
I know.
And
I understand that. Well, okay, so back to the faith thing. So years ago, so I grew up in the church, but about 20 years ago, I was like, oh, I can actually know you and you'll talk to me and you actually guide me. And so I'd actually lost my job. And so I'm praying like this. Okay, well, if you're there, then this is how like, these are prayers,
right.
right? Authentic prayers. Okay, so then what am I going to do then? So you got something for me? Let's hear it. Like, what is it? And like, I'm like, oh, you want me to, can I write that book now that I was going to write? Because I've been a single mom, a professional, like I've had great jobs. I can cook, I can do this. Like, let me write that book now. I'll tell people all about how great I am. Like, honestly. And the word that comes to me is, oh, you're arrogant. And I was like, ooh, I didn't like that one.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I know I'm a lot of things. I could be impatient, probably judgmental, like this and that. But I was like, arrogant? And this is what I hear. Marcy, there's only one savior and the position's filled. And I was like, oh yeah, savior syndrome. So to your point, I'm not sure if it's that. I don't know. I'm still learning. That's why maybe I'm a bit hurt because I'm like, oh, I thought all that work I did, we were ready. And it takes 2.
Did you think this was the one?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did. For sure I did.
Where do you think things went sideways? Like, how do you go from this is the one to now not being together?
Good question. I think it could be timing. And yeah, I think it's really ultimately, and if I try to, you know, there's so much, but I think it's accepting people where they're at, loving people where they're at, because it's not that I don't love this man. I do. But I think when you see and you know that what you're asking for can't necessarily be met, and I'm actually not high maintenance,
We all say that.
but I'm not really. And I think he would say that to you too. He'd be
Right.
like, no, like she's pretty simple, but emotionally maybe.
Right.
We were at different spots, and I have a strong accountability vibe. It's like, if there are issues and problems and stuff, I'm like, let's go. I'm going for it. I'm going in, I'm going deep, and I'm doing it. Not everybody is wanting to do the work as quickly and as deeply to get to the other side. And I think maybe that's
Where the
where
disconnect might have.
where we got a little maybe disconnected. And so trying to accept and learn to love someone exactly where they're at, but also sometimes that means I need to let you go and do what you need to do so that I don't hurt you
Right.
in asking something of you that maybe right today you don't have. Even if you want to give it and you can't, then the most loving thing to do is,
Walk away.
yeah, does
My
that sound
friend.
right or wrong?
No, my friend always says you're either meant to stay, walk away, or pray.
Well, and I'm doing all three, and I trust that it'll all work out.
Are you guys still friends?
I can't imagine that we wouldn't be friends, but it's not one of those relationships where, we're calling each other every day. I think I felt we have space.
Right.
I probably would rather be, but I think, for him, when he needs space, he needs space
Right.
to process and do what he needs to do. I don't know. I don't know what'll happen there, if anything ever will ever again. I'm still working through that in my own heart because I find it hard to believe because I'm extremely loyal. I'm a person who believes there's nothing we can't work through. I will stand by you.
Right.
Like, you took down your walls. I see everything. I'll stand by you. But you got to have my back in the same way I got your back.
Right.
So we weren't quite both at that same place. But I don't think there's much people can't work through.
I agree. I think if you're open and vulnerable and honest
And ready.
and ready.
Yeah.
That's the key, right? You have to be ready,
Yeah.
and you've got to set the egos aside, because once the ego gets in the way, then then it's just a battle of the twits, to be honest,
Yeah, I
right?
know what you're saying.
So
Yeah, right.
yeah.
Yeah, and it takes maturity, right? And vulnerability and openness and all those things. And you have to be willing to change. Like, I'm very willing to change.
Right.
He wasn't even asking me to change that much. So also I'm like, come on, I have to change. He's like, no. And I'm like, no, I do. So he would also have to be ready to ask
Right.
what he needs. So
Okay, let's get off the relationship
Yeah,
topic,
talk about
because
that.
and this is a little sad, I know, but you've just recently lost your mom.
I did.
And I'm sorry.
This is my mom's necklace. I brought it today
Oh, that's gorgeous.
Isn't it beautiful?
That is
It's
beautiful.
from Mexico. This is kind of her vibe. She's a little
Love
hippie.
it. Was she a little
Artsy.
hippie? You're a bit hippie.
It can be.
Yeah. So you recently lost your mom, and I know that the journey to get to your mom was like up and down and all around, and but you were exactly where you were meant to be. So just touch on that a little bit, like your journey to get to her and what took place.
Well, it was just finding the right time to go. So my mom's been sick for about 4 or 5 years with Parkinson's, and it exacerbated over the last couple of years. So we in our family, there's 5 of us, were going to visit her and taking turns.
Right.
And so we always wondered who would anyone ever be there with mom, and my mom didn't want to go into home, so she was at her home, and she had a 90-year-old husband, but the flight didn't get there on time. And
where was she again? Sorry.
she's in Los Gatos, California.
Okay.
One of the most beautiful places. If you've never been there, you got to go there.
Okay.
Anyway, again, a very prayerful thing was hoping that I would be there at the right time. And even though the plane was late and it got there the next day, I did manage to get there. And I did have a chat with my mom because I felt I needed to say to her, I know you're tired, and sometimes people need that. And
Be able to
anyway,
just let go and
to let go. But she seemed pretty good. Like, the day she died, she was looking at the computer. My sister had sent her a message. She was laughing. She was eating. She was weak. And I'm like, oh, darn you, Mom. I went for a walk, and I came back. Janny was no longer. Yeah, but I have to tell you, I still have such peace because I truly believe, and I'm honestly so thankful. That's where the gratitude comes in. It's like my mom is gone and I adored her, but truly thankful that I was there when she died. And I got to like actually carry her out to the hearse. She was teeny tiny with someone else, took care of her husband. I couldn't have asked for more. It's funny where you can find gratitude, but
Right.
so grateful to be there with her, and I felt that that's what she wanted too.
Good. That's another one of those moments where you're supposed to be, and you weren't meant to be there the day before
No.
and have more time with her. You were just
No.
meant to have that little bit of time with her.
So
and-
thankful. Because if you picked it on the calendar and said this 5 years ago, will anyone be with mom? Like she's hours and hours away. We don't know. It's hard to know. Would we get there in time? And I'm certain and thankful that he put me there at the right time. I have no doubt.
100%.
So I'm so thankful.
Yay. Yay. Well, it's nice to know that you've got great memories of your mom and
do.
that you had a nice relationship with her,
did.
and that's special.
Thank you.
That's special. So
Yeah.
thanks for sharing that.
You're welcome.
Let's have some fun questions.
Okay.
now. So, if you could be any character on Friends, who would you be and why? I already know who you'd be. Who I think you would be.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Really? Who?
Phoebe.
Oh God, I knew you were gonna say that. That's so funny. Oh, but she's the crazy one.
She is.
But Phoebe because she's funny in that way. Probably it's not the character I want to be because I'm like she's kind of weird. But you think I'd be Phoebe?
No,
But
well,
like,
just because she's
she does-
lovable.
She
and-
makes me laugh.
Yeah.
Or like she gets off the couch and she goes, "Ooh," or whatever she says, or "Smelly cat, smelly cat." So okay, we'll go with Phoebe. Fine,
No, is that who you would have picked?
I guess.
You're just saying that now.
Like I'd probably rather be the Jennifer Aniston type, but then she was a little. I don't even know, truthfully.
Okay.
But we'll go with Phoebe.
Okay. Your ride or die.
What does that really mean?
What does that mean? The person that you would call no matter what was going on. Okay, let me ask you this in a different way.
Okay.
If you were in jail
Oh
and you could only make one phone call, who would it be?
dear. I actually, two people come to mind. One would be either my daughter, because she's so level-headed and fairly close.
Right.
Could be my son, but he's so far away. Or I have a girlfriend
Right.
who I just visited this past weekend, whom I've known since university. Her name's Mary. Could be her too. I mean, my son would come running too. He'd probably have more insight for me.
Okay, so you have a few. You have a few people.
I
that
do,
you-
honestly,
Yeah.
thankfully. But usually it's my children or my ride or die.
Nice.
I can be exactly who I am, say anything, be anyway, and thank God they still love me. Thank God.
do.
I know, but it's not always. We've had to work through a lot. You know, when you're a bit messy,
Yeah.
raising your kids, and you get less messy, but that can affect them. I'm so fortunate.
So, on this jail theme, if you were arrested and no one knew why you were arrested, what would your friends and family think why you were arrested?
What would I don't know. I'm not sure what they would think, but probably for getting out of order because someone tried to hurt someone I loved, and I took it into my own hands.
The mama bear came out, eh?
Watch out. Yeah.
Love
I have a
it.
lot of patience for you, but if something happened to my kids or someone I loved, I would do what I had to do.
Like that. If you were able to bring everyone you've ever met in your whole life, dead or alive, and you could only look for one person, who would you look for?
Who would I look for? Like first?
Yeah, you could only go to one out of everyone you've ever met in your lifetime.
That I've met in my lifetime?
Dead
That's
or
a
alive,
hard
yeah.
question.
I know. I have faith in you, Marcy.
I don't know. I honestly don't even know. I can't think of anyone. Like who I would go to first. Like who I would be looking for. Okay. I don't know why this comes to mind, but I lost a friend of mine when he was 17. Actually, I was thinking about it this weekend. He had died in an avalanche. And I really loved him. So maybe I'd go say, "Where are you, Christian? Let's see you. He was such a special kid, such a good kid." Yeah, maybe him.
Yeah. Nice. What else do we need to know about you? There's lots, but
I don't know if there's much to know about me, but I guess the only thing that, like, I just want women to know, especially, because I spend so much time, and so do you, with women and encouraging women and helping women. And I'm just like, you know what, girls, it's okay if you don't know what you're doing, where you're going, who you are. It doesn't make you less than or incapable or valuable or able or not smart. And I guess that's what I'm telling myself these days. It's okay, girl. Like, you really, if you ask me who are you, I'd be like, I don't know. I don't know.
I was going to ask you that.
Yeah, I don't know anymore. Like, and I'm not
Do
saying
any of
that.
us really know who we are? Like, I mean, we can answer that in so many different ways. We could say we're a child of God, or we're love, or there's many ways to answer
Yeah.
that. We're a good friend, we're a business owner, but
Well, exactly. And at a certain point, I would have told you, oh, I'm a mom. Like,
oh yeah, I
before,
forgot I'm a mom.
before anything, though. Like, but even now, too, with grown kids, I'm still very much their mom, but I'm so much more like indifferent, and it's sort of what I'm not anymore. I'm like kind of not a mom in that same I'm raising you way. I'm more a friend now and encourager. Like a businesswoman, yes, but I'm kind of all over the place.
Right.
I'm a teacher, I've always been, but now I'm also teaching French. I was a partner. Well, I'm not that anymore.
Right.
I'm, I don't know. I'm just, I don't even know, but I'm okay with it.
Right.
Instead of maybe at a certain point in my life, I'd be like, oh, that's embarrassing. Like, you got to say you're this or you're that, or,
It's all relevant, right?
I don't really feel like that anymore. I'm like, I'm good with figuring it out and being on the road to figuring it out again. And I like that I can meander and be okay with it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Marcy, it's been great having you.